Star Wars Squadrons is the latest entry for Star Wars games from EA. Thankfully, it's not another multiplayer FPS or Dark Souls clone. It's a flight game, similar to the old X-Wings games all those years ago. It's set after the return of the Jedi during the final wars between the now New Republic and the Broken Empire. The game released on PC, PS4 and Xbox One. I'm not sure about next gen, but I'm assuming it'll pop up there too. Do we have another EA disaster, or is this something worth playing from the start, or do we have to wait 2 years for it to be good? Let's check it out. The story of Star Wars Squadrons is very unfulfilling. It begins with the Empire chasing refugees of Alderaan to wipe them out. You start as the Empire, your squadron being led by Lyndon Javes, who's totally not going to betray you.
You hear me, Teresa? But I don't think you understand me.
You end up at a trading post, searching for the refugees, finally finding them hiding with the rebels. You fight your way through, eventually cornering the refugees, and betrayed.
I'm sorry, Teresa. After Alderaan, I can't ignore what the Empire's become.
Sir? Lyndon, what are you saying?
That I don't care who ordered it. I didn't sign up to hurt innocent refugees.
You then switch to the rebel point of view, helping with the escape of the refugees. The story then skips forward to a time after Endor. Rebels are now the New Republic, and the Empire are still the Empire, but they don't have a space wizard in charge of them. On the New Republic side of things, you are led by Lyndon Javes, the betrayer of the Empire side, who will send you out on your missions. Your squad includes a meat person, Gunny, a Trandoshan voiced by Obi-Wan, Frisk, a human lady whose parents make TIE fighters, Grace, and a yellow lady who is force sensitive, Keo. The New Republic's main missions take them from destroying Imperial outposts to stealing Star Destroyers for their final goal of building a super ship, the Starhawk. The Empire side of things is pretty standard too. Your missions are given out by Teresa Karl, a lady who Lyndon betrayed in the intro, who's now been promoted to officer. You've got Von Reg and Sol, who are just angsty Empire pilots. Shen, who in my opinion is the coolest of them all. He's a pilot who's been in a lot of crashes but always seems to come back, so he sounds super messed up, very similar to Vader, but he's just not a space wizard. And finally we have Gray, the token gay man, who I was very sure was going to betray, but never, so props to him. Your final objective as the Empire is to destroy the Starhawk and kill Lyndon if you have the time. Spoilers for the end now, so skip to this time if you don't want anything spoiled. We all good? No one wins. The Empire starts the destruction of the Starhawk as well as killing Lyndon, and then they fly off and give us a recruitment video. While on the New Republic side of things, they crash the Starhawk into the moon, causing a massive explosion, destroying the Empire's fleet. Also, Lyndon's alive because he is. You then get a New Republic recruitment video. The story is just a non-story. Cool cameos from the likes of Wedge and Hera Syndulla? How the hell do you pronounce that?
Way at birth.
Oh, okay. Cool cameos from the likes of Wedge and Way at Birth from Star Wars Rebels, and ultimately seem like one giant tutorial for the online, and not like they actually had a cool story to tell. The game is played from a first person perspective. There's no third person. The game is very much built for first person only, with the cockpits being very well detailed so you can actually use all the instruments in the cockpit and find out everything you need just by using those. The game supports mouse and keyboard, gamepads, HOTAS. Did I just say HOTAS? Disclaimer, you can't actually play Star Wars Squadrons on a horse tattoo. And HOTAS. I mainly use the keyboard and mouse, which works perfectly fine in my opinion, very much feels like Elite Dangerous. Gamepads, I can't speak much on. I played a little bit of the game in a preview event on the PS4, and the gamepad was fine there. While I couldn't get an actual HOTAS set up myself, as they are the hardest thing to find at the moment, I hear they work fine at the moment, some issues involving a dead zone, but it works. If this is your first space flight game, it may take some getting used to with how everything controls, but just persist and everything will feel awesome eventually. Especially since the levels and maps are designed with a lot of tight spaces to fly through. Ships also have a lot of health, as opposed to Battlefront 2 where you died in about 2 shots. It makes the combat feel so much better since you can have actual dogfights and chases. It gives you a chance to fight back or outmaneuver your opponent. Ships also have power management this time around, The New Republic have engines, blasters and shields, which they can put extra power into to utilise that particular thing more. So if you put more power into your blasters, you can fire a lot more shots than you would otherwise. Or if you put power into the engines, you'll go a lot faster and be able to boost. You can also change the direction of your shield, giving you more cover from the front or back. The Empire only has engines and blasters, as the TIEs are unshielded. You can soup up your engines or blasters to cause fat damage or pull off fat maneuvers. Managing all these systems gives the gameplay a lot more depth, and it's super fun. AI, friendly or enemy, can be quite dumb or weird flying into stuff or doing really weird turns, but on the whole they are really great. They'll take chasing craft off you and heal you, or offer you a tough challenge in the game's single player or online modes. On the whole, the gameplay just feels really awesome, and there's not much, if anything, to complain about here. Multiplayer is broken up into 2 modes, with a couple of extra practice modes: Dogfight, Fleet Battles, Practice, Fleet Battles vs AI, and Fleet Battle Tutorial. Fleet Battle is the game's flagship mode, which also acts as the game's ranked mode. Practice mode will let you try out different ships, builds, and even lets you spawn in various things like the capital ships to test things out, which is awesome. Dogfight is pretty much TDM. 2 teams of 5 fight it out on a map. First to 30 kills wins. The mode itself is fun. I've been using it just to practice with different ships or builds, and to generally just chill out and not sweat as much, which leads us into the sweaty mode, Fleet Battles. Fleet Battle is the biggest mode and the most fleshed out mode of the multiplayer, going through multiple stages as the fight rages on. Firstly, teams need to fight in the middle until one gains enough ground, shown by the bar at the top of the screen. Killing human players, AI and bigger ships will reward various amounts of points toward this depending on what it is. Killing a breaching ship will reward far more than killing AI, for example. Once one team has enough to push, they will push and attempt to destroy 2 capital ships with the help of a friendly breacher ship. Once achieved, you will then move on to the enemy's flagship, which has multiple subsystems to target, shield generators, targeting, and power, things like that. This mode is ranked. Very similar to the likes of Rainbow Six Siege, you'll play 10 matches before being placed into a rank. Higher ranks earning more currency and cosmetics to show how awesome you are. This mode, as I said earlier, is the flagship mode of the game, and at this moment in time it is horrendously unbalanced. Empire will win 90% of the time. The New Republic's main ship is so easy for the Imperial ships to just stick to and go crazy, destroying all the subsystems before you can even kill them. The Star Destroyer, on the other hand, is full of turrets and you have to travel about 6,000 miles before you can actually reach any of their subsystems. While the New Republic ship, it's all on the front, and the turrets don't do anything. It's such a shame because this mode was fun before everyone figured that mad strat out. Now it's just really annoying to play. Fleet Battle vs AI is what it sounds like, and in my opinion is the much more enjoyable option. It's unranked and it's just you and friends versus AI. The AI in the game does not mess around, as I stated earlier. They are surprisingly tough to fight against, and they don't do stupid strategies. Multiplayer is obviously where people will spend most of their time, either in the ranked modes, playing against AI, or doing TDM. The multiplayer is really fun to play, especially with friends. Coordinating attacks and helping each other out is super satisfying and fun. I just hope they continue to balance the game out and fix some of the more annoying strategies. There are a ton of components in the game, resulting in a ton of various loadout and build options. So because I normally don't go deep into this kind of stuff, only rocking what I'm comfortable with, I asked my friend Sevo7 Sniper to go through the base loadout and build options for me, as well as the ship effectiveness. So enjoy this deeper look into the ships.
The standard loadout for the TIE Fighter isn't bad by any means. However, it doesn't particularly do anything great. It's sturdy, fast, and does a decent amount of damage, but it's mostly going to be a frigate, a fighter, and a capital ship focused ship. You're going to have a pretty rough time trying to do anything against a capital ship, especially if the shields are still up. The TIE Fighter's ability to repair mid-fight gives it an extra boost of survivability to help it keep in the fight, and that's pretty essential for not letting your team's morale drop too low. The burst cannon on the TIE Fighter genuinely feels like it's a better build over any of the other options, maybe bar ion if you prefer using ion weapons, but allowing the TIE Fighter to do a little bit extra DPS per run, as long as it's focused fire and all shots land, you're going to be dealing with ships a lot quicker than you would be with the standard or any of the other ones. build I absolutely love running on the TIE Interceptor is the hit and run build. It's a build that's designed around hitting larger targets and getting out of range while also being effective at ship-to-ship combat. The high rate of fire on the rapid-fire cannons combined with the ability to dump fire missiles combines for a fast and deadly burst of damage. It also allows for fast strikes on larger ships without needing to wait for missile lock-on, and is great for taking out large groups of turrets on corvettes. While sacrificing the ability to repair, the Seeker Mine is a great tool for pulling targets into an ambush or dropping behind you after getting a bit of distance using the speed advantages you have from being an interceptor to lay a trap for your enemy who is currently on your tail. Another great ability is the Sinar emergency repair system. Combining the Seeker Mine with the unstable engine allows you to sit dealing damage inside the enemy's shields, and anyone who dares come inside your shields will be chased down by the mine, and if they happen to kill you, the overload from your engine should also kill them, as well as dealing any amount of damage to the ship that you're currently sitting next to, potentially even finishing off turrets and subsystems. The TIE Reaper is the Imperial support ship that has a rather large amount of components that are focused on supporting their team around you. The Reaper is the only ship on the Imperial side that has shields by default. However, with a component, they do have the ability to provide your team with shields. However, the TIE Reaper has one of the lowest potential damage outputs due to the fact that it mostly has defensive abilities, and both alternative primary weapons have a lower damage output than the standard option. The standard loadout for the X-Wing is a decent all-rounder just like the TIE Fighter. However, once again, it doesn't excel at anything in particular. It's a solid ship to get used to the mechanics and controls, it's fast, it does a decent amount of damage, and due to its shields, allows for a few mistakes. You'll have somewhat of a rough time trying to fight capital ships with the standard loadout, but if thanks to the shields, you can hit fissures and make strike runs on turrets with not much of an issue. The emergency shields and dump fire missiles build is probably one of my most used builds for the X-Wing, purely because of the fact that it's basically the standard loadout with a few changes that are good for getting yourself deeper into the fight. The emergency shields allowed for you to take a few extra seconds of invincibility at a cost of some of your auxiliary ammo. The dump fire missiles are great for spamming at other ships and turrets. The A-Wing is currently one of the best ship-to-ship fighters in the game, as it should be, although they are extremely weak, even with shields at 500 health and 500 shields. Any pilot that can keep mobile and maneuverable with the A-Wing will not have a problem at all. The standard Y-Wing is a decent ship that's good at taking out larger ships as well as the smaller ships. However, the automatic ion turret seems relatively useless. I'm sure it can help at times if you're being trailed, but it doesn't really seem to do much other than slow them down. It doesn't particularly help because you're already one of the slower ships in the game. The multi-lock missiles are effective at hitting groups of AI and multiple players at once, and they can lock onto the same target 4 times, which can be effective. However, it's normally going to get countered immediately. The standard U-Wing is a useful tool for keeping friendlies repaired and resupplied without heading back to repair points. The turret mine is generally quite ineffective from the limited experience I've personally seen. Throw out a few and just let them do their thing. Mostly rely on just keeping your supplies being sent over to your friendlies.
There are a lot of cosmetics to unlock in the game, with no battle pass or microtransactions in sight. They are very insistent that this is all we have. This game is not a live service. Character customization is simple, you can't choose what eyes or hair you get, just the face and voice. The majority of the character cosmetics come in the form of flight suits, helmets, upper and lower body pieces and emotes. Ships also get a good amount of cosmetics, ship skins make you stand out from the crowd, and the various dashboard items are awesome. You use Glory to unlock these, which you earn by leveling up, completing challenges, or playing ranked. You can unlock a cosmetic via the operation. I guess it's like a monthly challenge reward. It is very nice not to see a battle pass or microtransactions. though I would like to see some more cosmetics. We just can't win, can we? Graphically, the game is very pretty, the environments look great. It's got a good variety of areas, from orange cloudy areas, shipwrecks and crazy space storms. All the ships have their iconic sound effects, and characters will have banter with each other, and it all depends on what voice you picked. Overall, it just looks and sounds very awesome.
Our Star Destroyer shields have been restored. You destroyed an enemy frigate.
They locked on! I'm caught in a tractor beam!
Republic power system taking damage. The enemy power system is destroyed. Attack the new breach points. Rebels' shields are down.
Hit it. Your saviors arrived, Vanguard 1.
Nice one.
I've been using the Oculus Rift S to play the game's campaign in VR, and it is wonderful. With the cockpits being so well detailed, it makes the game in VR amazing. You can look all around your ship, use the instruments, or eye up your squads as you talk to them in the briefing. The VR does not feel tacked on in the game, it just feels so right, and I would highly recommend it just for VR. Ultimately, Star Wars Squadrons is a welcome addition to Star Wars games. It's a nice change from the Battlefront series, the flying feels awesome and the multiplayer is a blast. I hear the company that made this game are working on multiple other projects, so here's hoping we get more like this. I would definitely recommend this game to Star Wars fans, and even if you're into space combat games. It's maybe not as in depth as the others, but it is a good time. Hello there, thank you for watching, and again thank you to Seth for helping me out with the ship stuff. Have you tried the game out, and what did you think about it? If not, are you interested in getting it? It is a really awesome game. So anyway, thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.